In this short video, we'll be talking about service types in TherapyZen. As a therapist or as a practice, you might specialize in certain types of counseling, or your services may be very broad, but you're finding yourself maybe performing the same services on a very regular basis. If that's the case, TherapyZen provides you with a little bit of customization as well as tools to help you speed up your workflow when it comes to service types and scheduling. So let's take a quick look at how service types come into play. I'm currently logged in, I'm looking at the calendar, and all of our therapists are listed here on the left. I'm going to scroll down until I get to my name, and I've got an available time slot here. I'm going to go ahead and double click to schedule an actual appointment with a client. When the new appointment form comes up, I'll just click in the client list here. These are all my assigned clients. I'll go ahead and pick one. And upon picking Dan Schaefer as my client for this particular appointment, you'll notice down below the service type is already preset. The reason that it's preset is in the settings of TherapyZen, we actually have this set as our default service type. So any new appointment that gets created, this is the one that gets selected by default. Once again, if you're doing the same type of counseling services on a very regular basis, this just saves you a couple clicks of having to select that every time. If at this point you do need to change the service type, you can always do so by just clicking the edit button here and selecting a different one. Now the service type is important. It shows up on things such as your invoice. It also sets the service amount, which you see below. That service amount comes from what's actually set in the service type. So for instance, I currently have psychotherapy, a 60-minute session for $100. If I change the service type to something like, we'll say a psychiatric diagnostic evaluation, I click that and you'll see my service type does change and I get a new session total for that particular appointment. So now that we've seen how we kind of interact with the service type when we're scheduling an appointment, let's go look at where we actually configure and set up these service types. So I'll go ahead and get out of this form. I'll click cancel. And where I want to go in TherapyZen is over here to settings. That'll take me to the system settings for our practice, and I'm going to come up here to the service types tab. Okay, and here are all the service types we have in the system for this practice. I'm going to go ahead and go down to the bottom here. Right now it's currently showing me 20 records. I'm going to click all so we can see them all at once. And I can scroll up and down this list. Now when you create your TherapyZen account, you'll see this very same list of service types that we place in the system by default, just so you have some sort of baseline list of types to work with. You can always go in and edit these or create your own new ones by clicking this new service type button here at the top. As you look at each service type, we've given each one a generic code, a generic description, some baseline rates, a duration, and then you've got the ability to set any particular service type as the default one that shows up in the new appointment form. You can also come over here to this final column, and if there are service types in here that you don't think you'll ever use, you can just simply mark them as inactive and remove them from the list. If you ever want to see the inactive service types, just click on this little filter icon in here, and you can click this option, Inactive Service Codes, and look at the ones that you've made inactive. I'm going to go ahead and go back and look at our active codes. And now we'll just do a quick example of setting a different service type as our default. So maybe you're a therapist that does a lot of group therapy and many of your appointments are group therapy sessions. If I come down the list here, I can find group therapy. Let's go ahead and set that as the default. We'll make another change here. We'll change the price. We'll say for group therapy it is a $200 session. Okay, group therapy, $200 and set as default. So now if we go back to our calendar, okay, I'll go back down to my particular portion of the scheduler here. I'll double click an available slot once again. Because we're doing group counseling, I'll go ahead and select a couple different clients here, and we'll say that they're all coming in for the same session, a group session. But one of the things you notice right away, my service type has been changed here. It's updated to show group therapy as the default and my session total. So if I go into those settings, I set the defaults, or I can customize them any way I want. And by doing so, it just saves me a little bit of time here and kind of gives me a little bit of personalization in the system. And more importantly, it just reduces a couple clicks that I'd have to do here in the new appointment form.